Table calculations in Tableau. What are they? What are they for? And how do you write them? Let's take a look at a few examples in Tableau Desktop. How to use the index function in Tableau, and what is it for? In this case, I have a bar chart with region, sales, and segment, and I'm counting the bars. 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. I'm using the index function for that. We're going to go through an example of how to use index as a rank. Let's go over to Tableau and take a look. In Tableau, I have a bar chart built with region, segment, and sales. Let's create a calculated field and just call it index. It's simply going to be index with 2 parentheses after it. Click apply, OK. I'm just going to drag that to text. Indexed on label. And you'll see that the first bar is 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So by unchecking segment, we have index for each segment by region. Let's move region to the right of segment to show it a little bit better. So within each segment, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, then it repeats. If I move segment back to the right of region, uncheck region, and check segment, now we have for each region, put an index by segment. We have 1, 2, 3, and it repeats 1, 2, 3. You can also uncheck both, and it would just be all ones. A common use case for index is to use it like a rank. Let's do along the entire table. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. Bring index to filters, and I only want to keep the top 5. Click apply, OK. And I only have the top 5 bars. It didn't matter which region they were in because it was along the entire table. I can change the partitioning of my index filter by adding the table calculation and doing it for each region. The sorting of each dimension doesn't change the index. So if I change region to sort manually, the first bar is still 1, 2, 3, and so on. What can be changed in an index is the partitioning. So I'm going to click the drop down on index and select edit table calculation. Right now, it's indexing across the entire table. I like to use specific dimensions. So right now, the entire table goes from changing the partitioning. I now have for each region, the index is giving me the top 4. Let's change the filter and change it to only top 2. Click apply, OK. Make sure my partitioning is right. From 1 to 12. To show this better, I'm going to put region to the right of segment. I now have top 2 regions for each segment. And that's one example of using index in Tableau. What is the last function in Tableau, and how can you use it in your visualizations? In this case, I have a line chart with a circle at the end for the last value of each year. Within 2019, I only have 1 circle for February, and in 2020, I have 1 circle for February. Let's take a look at how to use the last function in Tableau. I've built a line chart of sales by month and year. We have 2 years, 2019 and 2020. We're showing line charts of sales over time. If I want to add 1 mark here at the end, I'm going to use a function called last. Let's start by writing a calculated field. We're just going to call it last. It's simply going to be last. Click apply, OK. And let's drag that into the view. And put it on label. Now you see last is 0 for the last record, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on, and it counts backwards. It's counting backwards for each year. Let's take a look at the indexing and see how to change that. I click the drop down on last and select edit table calculation. I like to use specific dimensions. You can read this as show the last value for each year by month. For each unchecked item check the last value. That's why we have two zeros. This is the last value, and this is the last value. If I click on year, we're only going to have one last value. We have 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on. It does the last value along the entire table. I could also have unchecked month, but we're only going to have a 0 or a 1. So for each month, for February by itself, give me the last value. So for February itself, this is the last value, and this is the second to last value. Let's default back to for each year by month and close this out. I'm going to edit my last table calculation. I'm going to write an if statement around it. I'm going to write if last equals 0, then give me sum of sales. End. I'm not going to click apply. Let's take a look first. So last equals 0. This mark and this mark will evaluate to true. We're going to get sum of sales. Click apply. We have only one mark here. Let's move last off of text and onto rows. It's going to give us two dots. One dot here, one dot here, because that's the last value I'm outputting sales. Make this into a circle. Change it from automatic to circle. Make it a little bit bigger. Change this into a dual axis chart by clicking the drop down on last, selecting dual axis. Make sure you synchronize your axes. You'll see that last goes to 25,000 and sales goes to 80,000. If I right click last, select synchronize axes, the dot is at the end of the line. You can also remove the axis completely by unchecking show header. And that's one case on how to use the last function in Tableau. What is a lookup function and how do we use it in Tableau? In this example, I have a line chart of sales by month and year. We have 2019 and 2020. The bottom chart is showing two lines, a blue line for 2020 and a red line for 2019. Let's take a look at how to use the lookup function in Tableau. I have a line chart built of sales by month and year, 2019 and 2020. I have sales on the view already to populate my line chart. Next, I want to use a lookup function to look up the previous year or previous month sales. Let's click the drop down, create calculated field. Just call this lookup. The function is simply going to be lookup sum of sales, comma, -1, close parenthesis. What we're doing is looking up the sum of sales one mark back. Let's click apply, okay, and bring lookup into the view. Change this to a different color so we can see it. Get red. In order to tell how Tableau is doing the lookup, I'm going to open this table calculation and click specific dimensions. You can read this as look up the previous value, look up -1 value for each year by month. I actually want it to be for each month by year, so I'm going to check year and uncheck month. For each month, take the previous value by year. Let's close this out and check the values. Within 2020, we have a sales value of $22,979, and the previous value, so lookup -1, is $11,951. Let's check that on top. The 2019 version is $11,591. Let's make this a dual axis so we can change a couple things. Click the drop down on lookup and select dual axis. 2019 doesn't have a previous value because it's filtered out. 2020's previous value, so the red line, is now overlaid across the blue line. I can also set lookup to be previous month, so month over month. Let's edit the lookup calculation by selecting edit table calculation. And instead of for each month by year, we're going to change it to look up the previous value, look up -1 for each year by month. Let's close that out. Now for each year, the blue line, this is at 11,951 in February. January's value was 18,174. So the red line, my lookup value, is at 18,174. The line is just offset by 1 month. You can change lookup to any value. So I'm looking at the previous value minus 1. I can go 2 values back if I want and click apply. That's how you use the lookup function in Tableau. The first calculation is used to tell you what the first value in your table is. In this case, the first value is 725,000 and it belongs to West. The first calculation can be used to calculate what percentage each value is of the first value. So in this case, I can see that 725,000 is 100% of 725,000. 678,000 is 93% of the first value of 725,000. Let's take a look at how to do that in Tableau. I have a bar chart built of sales by region. The first value is West, which is 725,000. Let's first take a look at how to calculate that value. The calculation's simply going to be first, with 2 closed parentheses. And let's call it first. Click apply, and let's drag that onto label. So this bar is 0, this bar is -1, this bar is -2. It's counting backwards from left to right. I can edit this calculation and say if first equals 0, so this bar right here, then give me sum of sales, and end that. All table calculations are aggregates, so anything else you use in the view will need to be aggregated. Let's click apply, and you'll see that for the first bar, I get 725,000. For the rest of them, I don't get anything because they are not first. This bar is -1, this bar is -2. Let's edit first again and write a window sum around it. Window sum of that first value. Click apply. Okay. And you'll see that 725,000 is now available for every single record. Let's edit the calculation one more time and simply take the sum of sales and divide by that first value. That's going to give us a percentage. We can change it to a percentage by changing the format to a percentage. So 501,000 is 69% of 725. And that's how you use the first calculation in Tableau. What is the previous value calculation in Tableau, and how can you use it? In this case, I have sum of sales by month, and I'm showing a running total below it. The running total is built using previous value. Let's take a look at how to build this in Tableau. I've built a line chart using sum of sales on rows and month of order date on columns. Create a calculated field. We're going to write a running sum using previous value. Let's call this previous value 1. And we're going to drag sum of sales into the calculated field plus previous value of 1. Click apply and drag that into the view. This gives me a running sum of sales. If I made this a multiply instead of plus, you would get a running multiplication of sum of sales. And that's previous value in Tableau. How do you calculate rank in Tableau? In this example, I have 4 rows with a value of 14, 9, 9, and 6. I've ranked them 1, 2, 3, and 4. Let's take a look at how to build the rank function in Tableau. I've built a table using row and the sum of value. Row 4 has a value of 14, row 3 has 9, and so on. Let's start with a simple calculation. Create a calculated field, call it rank 1. It's simply going to be rank of sum of value. And let's close it out. Make sure that you put an aggregation within the rank because it's a table calculation. Click apply, and let's bring rank 1 into the view. You can see that we have a rank of 1, 2, 2, and 4, but no 3. The rank dense function does it a little bit differently. Let's write a calculation. Call it rank dense 1. It's simply going to be rank underscore dense sum of value. Apply. Okay. Put rank dense into the view. Instead of getting 1, 2, 2, and then 4, we get 1, 2, 2, and then 3. It does not skip over 3. Next is rank unique. It's simply going to be rank unique of sum of value. Click apply and OK. And let's put that into the view. What rank unique does is doesn't give two values the same rank. We go from 1 to 2, 3, and 4 sequentially. The last ranked function is rank modified. Let's create a calculated field. Rank modified. Simply going to be rank modified and then sum of value. Click apply, OK, and drag that into the view. Rank modified skips the second value. So we go from 1, 2 3s, and a 4. The last part of rank that we'll look at is ranking ascending instead of descending. Let's go into rank modified, edit, and after the value, we'll put a comma and a quote and ASC. Click apply, OK. Now my rank modified goes from 4 to 3, 3, and 1, backwards. And that's how to use the 4 types of rank in Tableau. How to use rank percentile and what it's used for in Tableau. In this example, I have a bar chart of sales by segment and category, and I'm showing the rank percentile across the entire table. Technology consumer is 100%, and furniture consumer is at the 87th percentile. Let's take a look at how to do this in Tableau. I have my bar chart set up using category, segment, and sales. I'm going to add rank percentile. Let's add a calculated field and call it rank percentile. It's simply going to be rank underscore percentile of sum of sales. Make sure you aggregate what's in rank percentile because it's a table calculation. Click OK, and let's drag that onto text. Change it to a percentage, and we have rank percentile. You can edit the partitioning by clicking the drop down and selecting Edit Table Calculation. If you have both items checked under specific dimensions, then you're calculating the percentile across the entire table. If you uncheck segment, you're calculating the percentile for each segment. Let's move segment first. And you can see we have 100%, 50%, and 0% within consumer. So for each segment, you're doing the rank percentile. If you swap these, uncheck category, move category to the left so you can see it. Now within each category, let's say furniture, we have a 100 percentile, a 50th, and a 0th. And that's rank percentile in Tableau. How do you use running total and calculate it in Tableau? In this example, I have sum of sales by month, and I have the running total sum of sales by month. In addition to running sum, you can also do running average, running min, and running max. Let's take a look at how to do that in Tableau. I have a line chart built with sum of sales by month. Let's take a look at how to add a running total. I'm going to write a calculated field and call it running total. Calculation is going to be running underscore sum and then pass in sum of sales. Let's click apply and OK. Drag running sum into the view, and you'll see I have the running sum of sales. If I had a field like region in the view, let's put that on rows, I would need to make sure the running sum is computed for each region. So let's edit the table calculation and make sure under specific dimensions, region is unchecked. When region is unchecked, it means you are calculating the running total for each region along month. Had region been checked, the line would be the same for each region. So the running total goes up to 2.2 million, and this running total goes up to 2.2 million as well. Let's uncheck region, close it out. Let's make this into a dual axis and then turn it into running average, running min, and running max. Click on the drop down on running total, click dual axis. I'm going to change running total to be an area chart and leave sum of sales as a line. Let's go into running total and change it to a running average. all you need to do is swap sum with average. Make sure you keep sum of sales in the view. You don't want to change this to average sales. We're doing the running sum of the sum of sales. Let's click OK. And we have a running average. For East in June 2019, the average was 9,300. And a little later in the year, it had moved up to 10,000. You can also change it to running min or running max. And that's how to compute running total in Tableau. What are window functions and how can you use them in Tableau? In this example, I have sum of sales by year and month. I'm also showing a window sum. So the sum across the entire table is 977,000. Let's take a look at how to calculate window sum, window average, window min, and window max in Tableau. I have a crosstab built with sum of sales by year and month. Let's start adding some window functions. We click the drop down and create calculated field. Call this window sum. It's simply going to be window underscore sum of sum of sales. Anything in window sum needs to be aggregated. Let's click apply and bring it into the view. The window sum is 977,000. That adds up all the sales together and computes 977,000 for each row. Let's edit the calculation by clicking the drop down and selecting Edit Table Calculation. We click on specific dimensions and uncheck year. That's going to calculate the window sum for each year. For each unchecked item, it will calculate the window sum. Within 2019, the sum is 495, and within 2020, the sum is 481. If I switch those, check year and uncheck month, I get 94,000 for March 2019 and 94,000 for March 2020. That's the sum of 38,000 and 55,000. You can see it better if you move year to the right of month. Let's move that back, change it to the entire view, and add average. Window average is window underscore average and sum of sales. Let's call this window average. Click apply, okay, and move that into the view. The average across the entire table is 40,000. Again, if I change the table calculation and have it compute for each year, the average will be different for each year. So for 2019, the average is 41,000, and for 2020, the average is 40,000. You can also do window min and window max with the same process. And that's window calculations in Tableau.